got malt, we've got water, we've got hops, we've got yeast. Those four simple ingredients make up something that is my passion, is my inspiration, and has been for over 20 years. It's a love affair, and I'm here to explain a little bit why. It actually, my first experience with beer happened like many American young boys do. When they go into their parents' fridge, they grab a can of Bud Light, they hide it out in their backyard under a bush, and they wait until their friends come over. And you have it, and you drink it. And you take that first sip, and you go, ugh, it's horrible. Fast forward, we're now in college. And of course, you've got the kegers. You've got these different drinking games that you do. And then one of my friends came up and said, here, try this. Figuring, just like everything else, start slamming it down. And I stopped. And I said, wait a minute. This tastes good. What is this? It's beer. But it's craft beer. Oh, wow. This is something. Craft beer has been defined as 10 minutes of pleasure or pure happiness in a glass. In America, there's over 2,800 craft breweries in the United States, and it grows every year. I live in the state of Michigan, and the number of breweries in Michigan have grown to well over 150 of them. And I've probably had beer from every single one of them. Some of the basic ingredients, as I said, malt, usually it's malt and barley, sometimes it's wheat or other grains. Water. And you might think that you can just, get water from the faucet or whatever, but if you get good, clean water, filtered, or maybe with just the right amount of minerals, it adds to the quality of that beer. And then there's hops. And I can look in people's faces and say, when I say the word hops, you'll get one of two faces. You'll get, oh. That's how you can tell if someone likes certain styles of beers, like IPAs, India Pale Ales. And then, God is good. It's what the monks used to call it, yeast. That organism that takes that sweet wort that's made from the malt and the water, and it converts it to CO2 and alcohol. And it imparts a certain flavor characteristic. It's those things that make craft beer a phenomenal beverage. You're not limited to just that type of drink though. There's some really crazy things you can do with beer. There's been people that have put in bananas, that have put in mustard seeds, oysters, cannabis, pizza crust, wild yeast from a brewer's beard.
What?
Gold, frankincense, myrrh, and my favorite, bull testicles.
Oh.
My passion has become an obsession, and everywhere I go, I try to get the craft beer from that location, or I try to trade online with other people from around the world to get a good beer. So I went from drinking craft beer to saying, I think I can make this. So I started making my own beer. And fortunately, my lovely wife bought me my first kit, and I started making beer. It was a raspberry wheat. And that first batch of beer was used at my daughter's christening. And it went like that. It was gone. So it's always been one of my go-to recipes. And I continue to buy new equipment, and I'm now like an equipment hoarder when it comes to making beer. Because there's different things you can do to tweak. Like you developers, you guys do things to tweak and make your product a little better. Same thing here. So now I'm making it, and I want to know what I can do to make it better. So I decided I'm going to get into a competition. There was a competition coming up, the National Homebrewers Competition. Great. But they recommended that you be part of the brew club. So I joined a local brew club called Motor City Mashers. And I submitted my raspberry wheat. Well, I got a letter saying, hey, guess what? Your beer was so good, it's going to go into the finals. I'm like, what? I just make beer, it's no big deal. Well, I ended up going to the National Homebrewers Conference, which was in Grand Rapids, Michigan, my home state, so that makes it an easy choice. And when I left with that thing that was on the screen there. Silver medal for a fruit beer. And what's crazy about it is the homebrew club that I just belonged to said, hey, you look like you have some leadership skills. And you make a good beer. You're going to be our new president. So now I'm the president of the Motor City Mashers. I always get this question asked a lot. Do you want to own your own brewery? The answer is I don't know yet. I'm still trying to figure that out. I love making beer. I love sharing beer. But when it comes down to it, it's about the passion. It's about what inspires me. And so I continue to hunt, and I continue to make, and I continue to brew. But I get this question, well, I can just go to the store and get beer. Why don't you just drink that? Because beer inspires me. It is my passion. So with that, I ask you, what's your passion? Cheers.